What's going on, Vikings fans? Welcome in the Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and coming up on today's show, we'll be diving into the latest NFL and Vikings trade rumors via Dianna Russini. I know Dianna Russini, but she did have some good nuggets in her latest article, and also Ian Rapoport as well. They're talking about the NFL trade deadline, so we'll talk about how that connects back to the Vikings and also some other teams in the NFC North. But speaking about the deadline, it is November 4th, 4 p.m. Eastern Time. So this will be a huge moment in the NFL. Teams are still debating, are we going to be buyers? Are we going to be sellers? And honestly, the NFL trade deadline has kind of turned into, like, back in the day, the prime NBA trade deadline, where you're just seeing marquee players getting traded left and right over and over again. Like even last year for the Vikes, trading for Cam Robinson, even though Cam was pretty bad at the tail half of last season, but he kind of saved the Viking season at left tackle for a majority of it. And we'll also be live here on the channel during the NFL trade deadline. So make sure you guys tune in then. And that's also why you guys should hit that subscribe button today, because we are closing in here on 65,000 subs. Just need 360 more of you guys to hit that subscribe button. But if you guys could help me out, make me look good for my bosses, and help us reach 65K subscribers here. So hit that subscribe button today. Once you guys are subscribed, just hit me with a skull down below in the comment section. All right, so Dianna Russini, we're actually going to start off with the Detroit Lions here. She is reporting that Detroit is making calls and they are looking for an edge rusher. Now, Detroit's defense, I think, when they are fully healthy, they probably got some of the best personnel in the NFL. They got a great secondary, Branch, Kirby Joseph. They got some dogs over there like DJ Reed, even Rock Ya-Sin, even though DJ Reed's out for the majority of the season. But Rock Ya-Sin had a good game on Monday night, and they could use another edge rusher next to Aiden Hutchinson, because if you were watching that game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I mean, they were chipping, double-teaming Aiden at a very high level. And, there are some elite edge rushers out there. Like, you got a guy like Jermaine Johnson. You got a guy like Bradley Chubb, Jalen Phillips, Trey Hendrickson, Matthew Judon. Like, these are all potential names for Detroit. And I'll tell you what, if they could somehow land Jermaine Johnson, I mean, that would definitely take that defense to another level. But the Dolphins, they're probably going to be sellers. That's why Chubb, Phillips, and Judon all make the list. Bengals, they're probably not going to trade Trey Hendrickson after they beat the Steelers last Thursday night. But I'll tell you what, if Detroit, they make a move for a big-time edge rusher, I think they're going to, potentially run away with the division. Like, I still like the roster more than Green Bay. And Detroit, they're a well-coached football team. They got blue chippers at every level on offense and defense. So if they could get another guy, I mean, that would be bad news for the Minnesota Vikings. But from the Viking side of things, I do doubt they make any moves. Now, if this was a different situation where the Vikings were, 5-1, 6-0, or even 4-2, I could maybe see them getting a little more aggressive, because the Vikings do have the ammunition to make a big-time trade. Like, if this season was going differently, maybe J.J. McCarthy, he was starting the whole year, he was healthy. Like, they could get aggressive, because you still have 11 draft picks in 2026. You still, for this year, you got $16.63 million for cap space. So you still have some ammunition to make some trades. I just don't think it's going to happen. Like, the Vikings are just really in no position right now to go make a big-time trade, because also, like, with all the free agency spending last year, you're going to have to build through the draft. Like, you're going to eventually have to hit on some of these draft picks. And if you don't, like, Vikings are going to be in purgatory for a while. So I don't think they're going to make a move. But let's talk about three guys, if they do end up making a move, could make some sense. We're going to start off with slot corner Michael Carter II of the New York Jets. So Michael Carter was one of the better slot corners in the NFL before this season. Really sticky in coverage. He battles. He's also pretty damn good against the run as well. But why he's on the trade block and teams are already calling for him, Carter lost his job in New York. They traded for Tennessee Titans slot corner Jarvis Brownlee Jr., which I will say the Vikings probably should have hit that up. I mean, you were struggling stopping the run. He's one of the best corners in the league in terms of stopping the run. And also, Jeff Okudah, he's been bad. Jeff Okudah probably shouldn't play anymore. Even Isaiah Rodgers got torched last week against the Eagles, but I'm banking on Isaiah Rodgers bouncing back. So Michael Carter could make some sense if you just want to get that true slot. But again, with the Flores defense, you don't really go out and get a true slot, or you don't get a true outside guy either. Like, you got to have some guys that can play multiple positions, which Michael Carter can't play on the outside. So I don't think that makes too much sense for the Vikings, but a guy I would be incredibly interested in, and it could make some sense right now, considering Ivan Pace Jr. got benched this past week. Demario Davis. Listen, the Vikings are going to make a move, and maybe they do get aggressive if they end up beating the Chargers. He would be my dream trade target. He's a veteran, obviously a little older. This would just be a one-year rental, but, I mean, the linebacker play outside of Blake Cashman is pretty damn bad for the Vikings. So a guy like Demario Davis would add some more juice to that defense. Pace, I don't really see him getting back out there on the football field too much for the rest of the year. And, Eric Wilson, it's a cool story, him returning to the Vikings, but he's just he's a backup linebacker. So maybe if they beat the Chargers, Demario Davis would make some sense. But also a guy like Budda Baker. Again, this is incredibly unlikely. I can't really see the Vikings, getting too aggressive at the trade deadline. But I'll tell you what, Budda Baker would be one of those guys that Brian Flores would sign up for ASAP, because even though I was a massive fan of Theo Jackson, him getting that 3-year extension, Theo really hasn't been too good this year. Jay Ward's been pretty solid, like Metellus and Harrison Smith. Like, even Harrison Smith was making some good plays against the Eagles, but clearly giving up big plays. That falls on the safeties. They haven't been good enough, so maybe they want to get ultra aggressive, trade for a guy like Budda Baker. But again, I think the Vikings are probably going to stand pat at this year's deadline. But you guys let me know. Who do you want? Name a player the Vikings should trade for. Maybe it's a guy I'm not thinking of. Again, it was kind of tough to come up with these names because normally at the deadline, you see edge rushers and wide receivers get traded. Those are two positions that the Vikings just don't need whatsoever. So you guys let me know. Name a player the Vikings should trade for. Drop that name down below. All right. I do want to talk about the Vikings trading away two guys. That being Jordan Addison and Jalen Nailor. Don't freak out. I'm vehemently against the Vikings trading Jordan Addison. So talk about that here in a second. But I do want to give a massive shout out to today's sponsor, that being Factor Meals. Now, if you guys want to eat smart, head over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off and use promo code VikingsChat50 off to get 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Now, the fall season always feels like a reset. Between back to school, busy routines, and shorter days, finding time to cook can be tough. That's why I love Factor. The chef-prepared, dietitian-approved meals make it easy to stay on track and enjoy something comforting and delicious no matter how hectic the season gets. Now, on Factor, you guys can choose from more variety and more meals. Choose from a wider selection of weekly meal options, including premium seafood choices like salmon and shrimp, and no extra cost. If you guys also want to support your wellness goals, they have even more GLP-1 friendly meals and new Mediterranean diet options packed with protein and good-for-you fats. So head on over to factormeals.com/VikingsChat50 off. Plug in promo code VikingsChat50 off, and we'll hook you guys up with 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. That's code VikingsChat50 off at factormeals.com for 50% off your first box plus free breakfast for 1 year. Get delicious, ready-to-eat meals delivered with Factor. This offer is only valid for new Factor customers with code and qualifying auto-renewing subscription purchase. All right, let's talk about it. Jordan Addison, Jalen Nailor. Doesn't make sense for the Vikings to trade either of these guys. Now, we're going to first start off here with Jalen Nailor. I think a Nailor trade is 100% on the table for the Vikings. Now, we haven't gotten any reports. We haven't gotten any smoke around this. This is just pure speculation on my end. Because Nailor, he's a guy that's entering a contract year right now. I mean, Nailor, he's a great wide receiver 3. But the Vikings probably aren't going to pay him this offseason. And, you could play the comp pick game where it's like, all right, maybe Nailor could go sign a 7-8 million deal. Maybe he could end up getting a 6th-round comp pick for him, or you could just kind of take a 6th-round pick you could get for him right now. I think that could be on the table. And you already drafted his replacement. Like, there is no way the Vikings pay Nailor big-time money. Like, you spent a 3rd-round pick on Ty Felton for a reason, which I see that draft pick's not looking too hot right now. But we'll see if he can develop with Keenan Cardell. I'm going to bank on that he will. Vikings develop wide receivers probably better than any team in the NFL. So you already drafted his replacement. You're not going to pay him. And also teams, they're desperate for wide receivers. Like the Giants are going to be calling. The Steelers are going to be calling. Like there will be teams calling about Jalen Nailor because there are some big fish out there like the Chris Olave, Jacoby Myers, Jalen Waddle, but I can't see the Dolphins moving off Waddle. Maybe the Raiders, they're probably going to move Myers, but only one team's going to get him. So teams are going to be desperate for wideouts. And this could also help make the Adam Thielen trade worth it. Like the Thielen trade looks like a joke right now. I don't understand he had a couple of nice catches against the Eagles, but if you want to get him out there on the football field more, that could be a situation where you just pull Nailor out, put Thielen in. Thielen's also still a better run blocker than Nailor. So, again, pure speculation on my end, but I do think there's a chance that Nailor gets dealt at the NFL trade deadline. Now, let's talk about Jordan Addison. Why would the Vikings ever consider trading him? I would not. I fully believe this, that Addison is not only like a part of the Vikings, now the current state of the Minnesota Vikings, but he's also part of their future plans. Like I think ideally, if you ask KOC, Kwesi, like who are your guys offensively that you're not moving no matter what? It's Darisaw, it's Jefferson and Addison, probably Jordan Mason, and then it's J.J. McCarthy, ideally, if he ends up working out. So there really is no incentive for me to move Addison. Now, I understand the off-the-field stuff. He's going to have to get a big contract. He'll probably sign the T. Higgins deal, but I mean, Addison is worth that because this guy's been, I mean, he's been absolutely awesome this year. Jordan Addison, he's a hell of a receiver. Like, even against the, week 4 against the Steelers, going for 4 receptions, 114 yards. Week 5 against the Browns, 5 receptions, 41 yards and a tud. Against the Eagles, 9 receptions, 128 yards. Like, Addison was fantastic in those games. So, I wouldn't move him whatsoever. Now, I don't know if a team, like, maybe you could get a first round pick for Addison, or I doubt that, but I would keep Addison. I think they view him as, truly a long-term piece for this Vikings team, but we'll see. We'll wait and see what happens. I still, at the end of the day, I probably put my money on the Vikings making 0 trades before the NFL trade deadline. If anything, it's probably trading away a guy, especially if they lose against the Chargers. Like, maybe more guys could be on the table. Maybe even a guy like Javon Hargrave could be on the table, and you could potentially trade him. But I know a lot of people would be open to trading Jordan Addison. At least that's what I see in the comment section and on social media. So you guys let me know. Would you trade Jordan Addison? Give me a T for trade. Give me a P for pass. You guys let me know your thoughts down below. We'll get on out of here. As always, Skol Vikes.